Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 240th of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Mr. Daniel Kenton. He's a senior 3D artist at Ryzin Studio from California, United States. And of course, before we get into the signature questions of the podcast, let me quickly mention that in the for contact section of the captions, you can find the ID to his Instagram account, the links to his ArtStation, Twitter, YouTube channel, and also Discord server. There's a lot of juniors there who want to break into the industry. So if you're also someone who's seeing any of the works you're seeing above us in the YouTube version of of this episode, you can probably see the type of works he's been doing on his portfolio. So if you're interested in doing the same stuff as well, I highly suggest joining the Discord server as well. Meet some like-minded people, other people like yourself, so you can grow more. And with that being said, let's jump into the first signature question of the podcast, where I start off the each episode with usually, which is give us a little introduction on how we got into the world of visual arts and design. Basically, tell us your origin story of how you became an artist.
Sure, dude. Yeah. So I guess I'll start. If you told me 4 years ago that I was gonna be an artist and giving people feedback and direction, I would have laughed in your face, dude. I have zero, aside from what I do on ArtStation and 3D art. I have zero art background. Not a thing. I'm still drawing stick figures out here, and basically from a very young age, I was playing Halo. I love favorite game Halo, and then playing Game Boy. I was always playing video games, and then when I grew up, I think around middle school, which is sixth grade, seventh grade, I think I really decided I want to do video games. I don't know how I want to do it. I just want to do video games. And that's my calling in life. And then, so I went to, when I was in seventh grade, I downloaded Unity, was making little games here and there. But I was just always kind of limited by what I could do, because I didn't have money to buy assets, so it was just cubes. It was just all cube shooting games and stuff. But I was always very limited there. And then I kept going. And then I went to, throughout high school, I was still doing it, still really enjoyed messing around in Unity and stuff. Did a little bit in Unreal. But other than that, I went to college for San Diego State for computer science. I got that. It was all programming. Took a couple of, there was two game development classes, but those were all programming. So I learned the programming and engineering side of games. And then when I was a sophomore in college, I had a friend of mine in Canada, Kane. He was always doing art, something, visual arts, video editing and stuff like that. And he started getting really good at 3D. And I was like, wow, that's sick. How do you do this stuff? I was so bored. I was a sophomore. I was just bored. I was like, how do you do this? It's here, download 3ds Max and I'll show you. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. I just learned the basic workflow. I was just grinding tutorials. And then I got pretty noticed around about a year later. I got noticed. And then from there, I interviewed and I got hired. I think I only applied to one job, and then I got rejected, and I was like, okay, I'm clearly not good enough. I need to just keep doing portfolio work. And then my current boss reached out to me. He was like, let's give you a job, And then so we interviewed, and then it was actually kind of funny. We were messaging on ArtStation to do an interview because they had a studio in Westlake, California, and we were messaging and okay, because COVID had just started, and it's okay, so when COVID's over, you'll come in for an interview. And then we all know how long COVID lasted. So that took a few months. And then I think they all moved work from home. So I guess they're screw, let's just interview this guy, So then I got interviewed, and then it's just been working from there. That's about it.
That's kind of interesting, but also I think actually I think if I'm not mistaken, the way I actually found your stuff was on Twitter. That I think Procreate made a tweet that artists, explain with one tweet, why should people follow you or something like that.
Right.
And you posted, I think, a picture of one of the Maximov gun or something, Maximov AK-47, and you were like, this is the job that got me into the industry, and it was poorly textures and unoptimized and stuff like that. And that was really interesting to me, because here's the thing, because I'm a junior myself, so I'm really trying to perfect my craft and all of that, and I know.
Right.
all of us exactly know where our strengths and weaknesses lie as well, by the way. And tend to fall into the trap of perfectionism of being everything should be completely perfect to be a perfect like portfolio shoot. But
Yeah.
for example, it's not just you that like the case study of the way you kind of of your tweet and the thing that happened for you, but I've also seen this in other people as well. Usually, sometimes in a portfolio, a piece really pops out, not because it's perfect in every aspect, but because it's perfect in one aspect or two aspects or something specific. Like something really shines in that piece. I mean, sure, maybe like if you actually open the 3D file of that project, like the mesh is extremely like janky and unoptimized,
Oh yeah.
but it looks good at least.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it was so that AK in particular was pretty much what got me into the industry. Other than that, like before that, it was still just like kind of not really understanding texturing at all. And I even in that project, I didn't understand how to texture at all. If you really look at the painter file, it is a nightmare. Like it is nowhere near like anywhere near quality that we have today. But yeah, I think I got really lucky. So it was my first model that I sat down and said, okay, I'm going to spend a month just modeling, just straight up poly modeling, like chamfer sub D modeling. And I think that's what paid off because all my other previous models, it was like I wasn't really taking 3D seriously. I was just kind of like doing it as like a hobby on the side. But then this time I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna model this thing. We're gonna texture it, and then I learned how to like render decently, and I attribute it all to my friend Kane. He pretty much gave me feedback and told me this looks stupid, redo it. This looks awful, redo it. And so I pretty much attribute everything to him. But yeah, he really got me through it, and that's what I always tell people. It only takes one. It only takes one to get noticed, and that's what got me noticed. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, oh my god, like when you said like 1 month of sub D modeling, yeah, and just pure brute force, modeling, to me, like I've never done something of that magnitude. I'm gonna be honest on an asset, and the main reason is I think I'm gonna be honest. I'm really impatient. Like that's like one of my biggest flaws. Like if someone asks me what is one of your biggest weaknesses, is actually I have a problem with patience, and I think it's also kind of related to my ADHD as well, because
yeah,
like here's the thing: if you give me like full detailed concept art of something, even if it's full detail, but everything is planned out and detailed on concept art, and I have it, all right, as references, I'm
right.
fine with sitting and doing 20 hours of work in nonstop, all right? Because I like my brain works like this. Like when I get in the flow, I like to just go, all right? But just doing something long term is really hard for me. Even right now, when I'm doing like an environment project, I worked on a like environment for like 4 months, and I realized, oh, the scale is like too big for me at this point. I need at least
Yeah.
a year and a half to finish this, and
Yeah.
especially for a junior. But then I started a new environment actually 2 weeks ago, which even though it's a small environment, but as someone who's a junior who's also who has to tackle a lot of like technical also barriers. Like I need to learn, get good at designer, painter. By good, I mean actually like good.
Yeah.
So I can say, all right, I'm confident at this, right?
Yeah.
That's on like if I want to be optimistic, that's going to get finished in like 6 months. If I have to be optimistic, all right. And yeah, that's honestly my problem. Like with patience. Have you ever had any problem like that?
What's funny is in my interview for my job, they asked me what my weaknesses was, and I said I was impatient. I'm not even kidding. I said I was impatient. Yeah. I always found myself rushing the textures, rushing the high poly just to get it done. But it's gotten better. It's gotten better because I've seen. So I've had some pretty like good quality projects, and now if I do anything below that, I'm like, okay, I rushed it. I need to like go back and look. So, but for impatience, I would just say like it's a tough one, dude. I don't know because I'm still impatient. Like I still like get to certain parts. I'm like, okay, I kind of just want this to be over, but like you got to just keep going. I mean, like if you're gonna do something, you should do it right. And but
Yeah, I totally agree
it's
with
tough.
you. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's also this whole thing. I think it's a meme as well. Like, when you suddenly start something new and you're not instantly good at it, and you're like, oh no. And yeah, I mean, especially if you're someone who's gotten really good at one thing. Like, imagine like you're really good at working with, I don't know, Blender, for example, right? And for your job, in the studio, they want to, work with Maya. That's the whole pipeline. That's what they're comfortable with, and they even
Right.
give you a month to, get familiarize yourself with it. But there's this like kind of big resistance in your head because it could be, vice versa, by the way, but you get the point. So yeah, that's the whole thing. When you get good at something and you're in your brain, you want to you have this notion that you should be good at other stuff as well, even though you've never tried them.
Hmm.
So when you actually reality hits you in the face, you're like, oh no. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna screw this, and that's one of the things that I've really struggled with. You have no idea how long I've postponed learning ZBrush, and I actually started just a week ago. And yeah, but the thing is, all it takes is that initial momentum of like anything you're procrastinating, anything you have problem like starting with, like the first like phase is really hard because there's this whole resistance in your brain, like mentally. Once you push
Right.
past that, things become much more easier. And even if we know that logically, but even though I know that, even I said it now, all right, today is like 29th of July of 2023. Even at this date, I said that. I'm sure in the future I'm going to repeat this kind of attitude again, like subconsciously or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, progress is not, one thing I learned is that progress is not linear. Like, you're gonna start off, it's just you're gonna be not so good. Then you're gonna see a slight increase in your skill. And then you might go down and say, like, okay, well, what did I learn from this increase? And how can I apply it to my next one? And then you just kind of keep going up and down. Hopefully it's like a, stock market upward trend. But yeah, it's tough starting out when you I don't know how I got past it. It's been a little while, but because I'm still pretty new. Like, I've only been in the industry for 3 years, and I've been modeling for 4 years. And I would say, like, the way I got past it was just modeling things. At least for 3D art, was doing things that I enjoy. So I enjoy playing Call of Duty with my friends. I enjoy playing Counter Strike. Shooting games. So it was like, hey, why not try and model some of these guns? Sounds like pretty fun. And I know how guns work, so it would help. So I mean, it just kind of, I think the medium of doing weapons also kind of helped because it was just something that I really enjoyed, and I could just like, okay, I did that model. Oh, this thing looks really cool. I'm gonna do this thing now. You know.
All right, yeah. And well, speaking of guns and weapons, I mean, that's actually a really great segue to jump into our next question on this topic, which is, what is your main branch of design that you're focusing on, and tell us about your experience from the start of it until now. Like, I mean, of course, when we open your art station and your portfolio, it's all, well, let's be honest, it's all guns.
Mm-hmm.
But in the title, like in the introduction, I mentioned you're a 3D artist, which I'm sure you're working on other stuff as well in your work in the studio as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so, like, tell us what is your role exactly right now?
So I don't really like calling myself just a weapon artist. I would rather, because I mean, which in my personal, or my not my personal, but my professional work, I mean, we're working on some pretty cool stuff that I'm excited to show. That's not just AK-47 gun. It's like some cool stuff that I'm excited to show off when I finally am able to. But I don't really like putting all my eggs into just weapon artist, because I feel like if a recruiter is looking for um, like, if their team we need a new hard servers artist, they're going to see weapon artist, and they're just like, oh, he doesn't do, like, because the recruiters knowledge is not always what we think. So I'd rather just market myself as 3D artist, because I don't just do weapons. I've done some sculpting, which I'm not the greatest at, but I have done sculpting. I've done some work in like Marvelous Designer, which is not a hard surface program. But yeah, I prefer just 3D artist, and then eventually I would like to move into like concepts or something. But yeah, eventually, also because I have a programming background, I want to do tech art. That's like the main goal one day is to go to tech art.
Have you tried Houdini?
Houdini, yeah, dude. I tried Houdini for um, a couple weeks. That program is not that I did not like that program at all. It was like you got the different nodes, and it just didn't feel like very intuitive. But I mean, the stuff you can do with it is mind blowing. I mean, you can do like insane like buildings collapsing, and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about it. Like, it's the learning curve of it is brutal. But I mean, if it's really hard to learn as well, like you need to put some sort of effort. The higher the effort, the higher the reward. So then,
Yeah. I will eventually probably get into it, but there's a bunch of things tech artists do, and like they got tools engineers, they got people that just do rigging, which I don't. I rigged for a little bit. I didn't really find it like too enjoyable, but maybe one day I'll learn Houdini. But that is not today. I got a few other things I'm gonna on the back burner that I'm trying to learn right now.
all right, awesome. And all right, so this is kind of a really interesting question. How does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a new project? Like, what does the structure of your pipeline usually look like?
So okay, so I have like two kind of things that I do. I do like game art, which is well, I mean, I do game. That's my thing. It's just game art. But I do like I'm enjoying doing concepting right now, and then so that's me thinking of like a gun that I would want to see made in reality. So like if you look at Modern Warfare 2, for example, or even Modern Warfare 2019, those are real guns, but they don't exist. Like you can have the AK-47, but you can't like physically make exactly the AK-47. You have to like change it a little bit, and that leads to like some pretty cool stuff. I really like was inspired by that by Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2019. So that's what kind of inspired my recent like transition to design a little bit. And so that basically is just me concepting, going back and forth with my friend Kane. He gives me design feedback because he's an amazing designer, and I am a mere weakling designer. But he gives me feedback and stuff, and then from there it's just my usual game art pipeline: high poly, low poly, UV, bake, and texture, and then render. Render, very important to render. But other than that, when I do like make a model that exists in the real world, I just skip the concepting phase and I just do my own thing. Unless I want to maybe add something to the model that I concept, I think I did that on. I think I modeled a Galil, but I put my own design scope on it. So it's the usual game art pipeline, except I do high to low because I think that's the proper way to do things. But yeah, it's the usual game art thing. Sometimes I'll incorporate my own concepts, but still learning concepts. But we'll get there.
Now, speaking of design, like there's something really like interesting topic that I want to also talk about with you as well, which is. But before I jump into that, I need to quickly mention something that I've recently seen on Twitter. And there was this video of this animator, which I forgot their name, which they were extremely criticizing the animation in the new Mortal Kombat 1 trailer. I don't know if you saw any of the trailers of the new Mortal Kombat, which was fair enough, from artistic standpoint, they were giving valid excuses. But here's the thing. This is, of course, my subjective opinion. A lot of people could disagree. Of course, I'm really interested to hear people's different opinions in the comment section down below as well. But to me, that's like the animations, sure, weren't super bad, but of course they had flaws. They weren't perfect, from like an animation standpoint, all right? But to me, that just sounds like those grammar Nazis that like, oh, you did this, you used that, you use this. Because here's the thing, here's my opinion, here's my 2 cents. As long as it looks cool and it excites you, it's doing its job right. Exactly. I know a lot of people might disagree with me. And I want to transition that to weapon design, all right? A lot of the weapons you see in not just, realistic based game, but even like fantasy games. But here's the thing, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. Even in like, games that are trying to be set in like a real life physics kind of like setting, all right? If the gun is not practical, if it's not accurate or it doesn't make sense sometimes, the mechanics don't make sense. If it looks cool, if it excites you, if it feels nice to look at when you see that like their load and reload animations, it's doing this job right. All right.
Exactly.
Because that's literally in like vehicle design, in weapon design, in everything. That's my main philosophy. And a lot of people, for example, last year I designed this like laser SMG, and it had like 4 like different clip magazines over here on like here, like this is the barrel, it was like here like an X, all right.
Okay.
And it would retract and subtract, right? And when it would widen up, it had a mode that it would turn into a shield. So the person was holding it was like a mini shield and just shoot. And they were like, no, it's not, it doesn't make sense. It's an SMG. How is it going to work? And I was like, and I just made it up on the spot. This is a laser. It's not ballistic. Boom. Problem solved. Yeah. And these are the clips. They're like DC battery charges. Boom. Problem solved. Yeah. It looked cool to me, and I wanted to make it. Like, just make something up. Like, if it looks cool, that's fine. You don't need to worry about if it's going to, appeal to the masses. If some pedantic asshole is going to, like point out the physical, like, flaws of like the designer. This is entertainment business.
Shit, sorry, train's going by, but yeah.
That was such a comedic timing. That was such a comedic timing with the train.
Yeah, dude, it's actually really loud. Sorry about that, but dude, when you enter the world of weapon art, you encounter the weapon artist, and so how you've talked to like people that are really into cars. And they just do not stop talking about cars, and they see a car on the street and say like, oh, like you should have done this with your car. Like, why'd you do this instead of this with your car? It is the exact same thing with weapon artists. And I think part of it is kind of detrimental to people. I think people go for this, like, when they're making assets and stuff, they go for like, would this exist in reality, so much to the point where it's just like, it's a detriment to their art. They're focusing too much on the technical documentation that it doesn't look cool. So one thing that I used to be like that. I used to do that a lot, but recently I've been straying away from like the actual technical, like this material is not correct. It should be this, as opposed to this looks sick and this looks awesome. And I like this, which is, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 has some of the best weapon artists working on it. They're awesome. The Infinity Ward weapon team, they're awesome. But they've reached a level that is just so realistic that I don't think most of the players appreciate it. The only people that I think a lot of people that really appreciate are weapon artists or people that are super into guns and understand like the intricacies of guns. And so like people like me, like I spend like dude, when Modern Warfare 2 came out, I spent for an hour just looking at the guns in the weaponsmith because it's just like, oh, this is my jam, And then Modern Warfare 2019 is the same thing, because you could actually spin the gun around. You can't spin the gun around anymore, but back then, like it was just like, wow, this is like the level that I want to achieve. And some of those weapon artists are what inspired me to like start really focusing on the materials and stuff and get really good at rendering and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, when you enter the world of weapon art, you will get roasted online by weapon artists. You will get by the weapon people. I think my Maximov, I found it on some gun forum, and this is totally impractical. It's like, dude, come on. And I think there's on the stock of the gun, there's a Picatinny rail, so you can put an attachment. But why would you ever put an attachment on the stock? I didn't think of that at the time. I was just modeling it because it looks sick, But yeah, and then some weapon artists, or not artists, but just some gun guy points out like, "Why you never put that there?" Like, yeah, no, it's wrong. It's so annoying, but yeah,
it is what it is, I guess. Like Yeah, some people really can't enjoy life. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, they miss the points. Like,
right. We're here to make cool stuff. We're artists. We're humans, and then we're artists. So we're here to make cool stuff, and we're here to, interact with people in a nice way, give nice feedback to people, which is one of the reasons I made my weapon art server. But that's a different topic. But
yeah, that's awesome. By the way, the link of the server is down in the description below. So if you want to join, definitely do check the links out. And yep. And all right. So the next question is, who are some of your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
Oh man, that's a good one. So not weapon art specific, but into the world of 3D in general. Uh, Mike Nash, rest in peace. Are you familiar with Mike Nash? Yeah, he's just absolute
Yeah, yeah,
legend.
yeah.
Yeah, he. I saw his. It's called like the infiltrator suit on some like random Instagram post. I'm like, what? Like this is 3D? Like what? And then he's like, this was at the time where I like first downloaded 3ds Max, and I was like, he's poly modeling, and so am I. Like, I could do what he does, but obviously I can't do what he does. He's using different tools, and he's way better. Was a way better designer than I am right now. But yeah, he inspired me to get into the world of 3D. Him, Kane T on ArtStation, he inspired me to get started on it. Just that there's more to video games than just programming. There's a whole art side too. I didn't really know that. I looked at all these artists. I was like, oh, I don't know how any of that gets done. I never really looked into it until he kind of got me into it. But then as far as weapon artists go, oh dude, we got oh man, design goes, we got Alex Seneschal, absolute legend at designing. I watched a bunch of his tutorials starting out. He's awesome. Eugene Petrov, he's got some of the best. I think he's got some of the best modern gun designs out there. Amazing textures, just super nice work. There's a few artists that worked on Modern Warfare inspired me. I'm trying to think. Mialenko, I think I'm totally butchering his name. I'm so sorry, but Mialenko, he's got. You can probably find him on ArtStation. He's got insane texturing that he's done for Modern Warfare. Can't remember where he works now, but yeah, that guy's work is amazing. Trying to think if there's some others. Yeah, I think that's about it that got me really into it. I think that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
And any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for artists, who want to join the same field as you?
Okay. Yeah. So, as far as weapon art goes, there's not many colleges that do it right, which is unfortunate. But that's kind of a thing with prop art for like doing hard surface art. A lot of the workflows that they're teaching at colleges is not ideal. Like I've talked to a few people that are going to college and they're still learning like outdated workflows from like 5-10 years ago. So I don't recommend going to college. But as far as portfolio wise, I would say tailor it to what you want to do. If you want to work on Overwatch, you should do some stylized stuff. But it's kind of a double-edged sword because I always tell people like don't put all your eggs into just weapons. You should do some props too. You could try doing like a robot. Like I tried doing a robot, didn't turn out very very good, but I tried. But try to do stuff that you enjoy. That's the main thing. If you don't enjoy what you're modeling, like you're not going to end up with a good result. So and if you really enjoy sniper rifles, then make your portfolio should just be 10 sniper rifles. But I'd say each project you do, you need to challenge yourself with a new skill. So I did my first projects were done sub D because I needed to learn topology. That's still a basic that I think everyone should learn. So quad topology, quad flow, all that. But then after that, I was like, okay, this project I'm going to learn Fusion 360, and then next project, okay, this project I'm going to add like some sculpty bits to it and learn how to like use sculpting a little bit on it. It's like, okay, cool. So then this next project, I'm going to focus just on textures. I'm just going to make something small, just focus directly on textures. And that's, I think, was the key for me, at least for building a portfolio. That stood out from others was building new skills each project you do. Because you can model a Glock and then you can model just like another handgun afterwards. But like, I think each project you do, you need to like incorporate some level of challenge to it, and then don't be afraid to get feedback too. That's the main reason I started the weapon art server, because I would go on what's the discords? There's a few modeling discords. I got it open, like Polycount. They have a lot of really great artists on there, but as when it comes specifically to weapon art, I saw that there wasn't like a whole lot of good like specific feedback for weapon art. So that's kind of the reason I started my server, was to give feedback specifically more towards weapon artists, because I thought there was a lack of that in the industry. But yeah, as far as juniors go, grind tutorials, man. That's all it is. Tutorials.
And actually do something with the tutorials. Don't just watch them like me in the beginning phases of my, journey.
Yeah.
Don't bookmark them and watch them and feel like, oh, I'm productive. No, actually apply them to your projects as soon as you can, and take notes even. Honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Yeah, I watched Eugene Petrov's handgun tutorial, which I'm like the biggest advocate for. Like, I'm not sponsored by Eugene, but like, dude, that tutorial is amazing. It's like, it gives you the industry standard workflow that we use for weapons. And so I learned that. So I watched it, and then I immediately went into modeling something. I forget which portfolio piece I did, but I immediately just went into that, and that was a big learning. That was a big like learning curve for me.
All right, awesome. And what are you working on right now? I mean, of course, if it's something that's NDA is involved, we can skip right past this question. But in general, whether studio work that you can share with us or personal work that you're doing, basically, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So I got a lot of NDA stuff, obviously, but I'm making a revolver. And in this project, I wanted to learn how to use Fusion's surface modeling tools. It's like, I guess, T-splines. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's basically like a sub-D mode inside of Fusion, because the problem with Fusion is that it's kind of rigid, kind of blocky. So this was like a free-form modeling inside of Fusion, so I used that a little bit. But so that's what I'm doing right now, and then maybe I think I'm gonna make a tutorial off of it, a texturing tutorial off of it. That's yeah, dude. I always got something on the back burner. I got another project I'm working on the side. No one knows about it. Secret. But yeah, we're always working on something, dude.
Yeah, awesome, man. And all right, so we've talked about a lot of art related stuff, but now I want to just go a little bit off road. What area beside the area you're working right now, which is of course 3D art, and it's in the realm of visual arts, all right? Aside from anything non-art related that's in your life, what are stuff you got going on?
Non-art stuff, I think well, first of all, I love snowboarding. That's like I love snowboarding. I'm trying to get sick. I'm trying to get gnarly at snowboarding. I've got that. I'm trying to get out there more as a person, because when I was that's been my kind of goal for a little while, was trying to get out there more, just because I was very introverted, well, I still am very introverted, but but in college, I lived in almost like this shell of just like wake up, work, or because I was working at the time while also going to college. So I was like, wake up, work for a little bit, go to class, work, and then come back, and then work for a little bit, and then like eat food and go to sleep or like do homework. And so like it kind of just like mentally just like, this is like, I was like trapped in like this like cycle of just like wake up, work, grind, repeat, So lately I've been trying to get out a bit more. Just that's like my goal, is to like get out a bit more. Other than that, hitting the gym. I'm hitting the gym hard, pretty much daily, almost, trying to get huge. That was Mike Nash, actually. He was also my inspiration for that, because have you ever watched his like podcast at all? Mike Nash podcast?
No, never.
Oh, okay. He has like a few podcast series that are up on YouTube, but he would always like he would like have a webcam on while he was modeling or something, and he's jacked. Like as a human, he is like an Adonis of a human. And that's sick, because like it's like we sit here all day. I can sit here for 15 hours working, but I want to be like physically more active as a person. Get huge in the gym.
Yeah, I can.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see. That would be motivation for you because when I opened up your Instagram account, your last post was this huge back tattoo that you had. Yeah, like you got to expand the canvas, man.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, that is my side goal. That's my side quest is to be fully tattooed. Yeah, I love tattoos. But that was that back tattoo was all Elden Ring. You ever play Elden Ring?
No, I know it's a bummer, but I'm not really into from software type kind of those Souls like games. Sorry.
Yeah, they're not for everyone. But man, that game honestly changed the way I looked at modern gaming because I thought we were modern gaming. I thought we were kind of going in a direction of just like every game comes out as live service and they don't care about the game until 2 years down the line when it actually works. We get bad release ports, but Elden Ring, like the game, like Todd Howard said, it just worked and it was amazing. And I would it broke my routine. I'd wake up, work, school, and then play Elden Ring instead of go to sleep. But that game really, I love that game. That was actually my introduction into the Souls game. So I got to go back and play Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and stuff like that. Actually, Bloodborne's console only. I don't have a console, but I absolutely love those games.
Yeah, I mean, actually, of course, I haven't played the games, but I'm kind of understanding on how the game are. I've watched playthroughs and other things, but there's so many elements are still missing in today's gaming right now. As you said, that games used to have this sort of mystique and kind of coolness to them. And I know exactly what everyone might think, and you might be thinking right now, no, Ramtin, you were a child. That was when games were fresh to you. That was that everything was just so fantastical and awesome.
Right.
I get it. That's an extremely valid point. I definitely do get it. But let me give you an example. For example, there's so many things I could give examples, but specifically I want to give this example. One of my favorite games when I used to play as a kid was Tomb Raider series. And my first Tomb Raider I ever played was Tomb Raider 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was a brutal game by today's standards. All right, I don't know if you have you played it.
No, you mean like brutal as in hard?
In terms of all right, let me explain. Today's games, you open the game, the UI and the HUD of the game gives a big yellow pointing flash. Go here, do this. Oh,
Exactly.
get this item, do this. It hand fits you everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
In the Tomb Raider game, it's not like that. It would show you through environmental storytelling, of course, in a normal standard way. But the secrets, the Easter eggs you would find, the secret areas in games, it was so cool when you found them in even in serious time games, when you find the hidden areas. That was one of the main things of the games. And actually, one of the scariest gaming moments of my life was from Serious Sam 1 when I was a kid. And I still can't, actually to this day, because of my thalassophobia, I can't play that level. It has a sewer level, all right? And at some points, you need to drop down into the water and swim down. And right, on a pillar under the water, there's a button you need to switch to open a door to move on to the next area. And oh boy, if you swim a little bit too deeper, as you go, you see this, there was this enemies, fish enemies in the game. They were small, you kill them, but there's a gigantic version of that fish deep down looking at you. And it's such a triggering sight, honestly, even to this day. Imagine being able to accomplish that with that level of, technology and advancement they had. And
right.
And as you moved closer to it, if you moved a little bit closer, it turned hostile and tried to kill you. It wasn't that strong, but it made Little Ramtin really scared when I was a kid. And here's the weirdest thing. There was a jump scare underwater in Tomb Raider 2. Jesus, worse. The game devs back then were psychopaths. Honestly. There was...
I have the same thing with it's called submechanophobia. It's the fear of man-made objects underwater.
Oh, yeah. I kind of get the eerie feeling of that as well.
I can't... if I look at a picture of a submarine underwater, it's gives you the creeps, I can't... I have the exact same thing. I know the exact same feeling.
I mean, here's the thing. Some people say, some phobias you need to work on them to remove... I think that's a stupid statement. I am so sorry. I don't mean no offense, but let me explain. I have lungs, all right? That's logical for me to have a fear of ocean and depths, all right?
You're right. Because we don't have gills. We don't go underwater.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fine for me to have that fear. I mean, that makes complete sense. All right. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I mean, of course, some phobias have to be worked on. I mean, like, yeah, because of the way we live. Like, I mean, like agoraphobia, like one of the main examples. Of course, it's a really complicated thing, but yeah,
That's agoraphobia is like a fear of
fear of
people, right?
going out. I think, if I'm
Okay,
not
yeah,
mistaken, I'm sorry if I made that incorrect assumption, but I'm sure that people have who are agoraphobic who usually stay indoors at all times as much as possible, and they fear going
right,
out.
right,
And
yeah.
yeah, but when I used to play Tomb Raider, I would always look out for these secret areas. It's Serious Sam as well. In Harry Potter, there was this old Harry Potter game, third-person Harry Potter game based on the second installment. They all had secret areas. They all had cool Easter eggs. They all had cool collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
The games had juice. That's what I'm trying to say.
It had juice. Yeah. The Doom games, the new Doom games are pretty good like that. They got secret areas, just like the old games. You'd spam E while you're moving across a wall, and you open up a secret area. The new Dooms are kind of the same way. You got secret areas, you got collectibles, but yeah, a lot of the modern games that are coming out are just not really doing anything.
Actually, the most recent modern game I've played that gave me this extreme rush that I honestly, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it's among my top 5 most fun single player games I've ever played, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy game of 2021 by the ADS Montreal. I don't know if you played that. The gun designs, by the way, the Rocket Raccoon gun is extremely like just kick ass. Like, I still have it in my inspiration ref board right now because, as I said before our call, I'm trying to design. I have like the design of 2 guns in my head, which I'm actually going to explain to you after our call.
Sure.
So I'm kind of gathering a lot of references for guns as well, and different mechanics of them. But that game, I highly recommend just checking it out if you can. Put it on your backlog if you can, because that game as a single player experience, it was amazing. It was like watching a really good movie, a very well written movie, but you actually play it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And here's the thing, it went under the radar because the last game of the same studio was a Marvel Avengers game, which absolutely sucked.
Oh yeah, what was the game? What was the
Marvel's Avengers by Eidos Montreal? I think it was 2020, and it was very bad. It was online service and everything, but it was so insane that they made it one of the biggest comebacks in gaming history, and they made the Guardians of the Galaxy, which was everything they did wrong. They corrected those mistakes and added a bunch of cool stuff to it. Like, it had, in this game, there's so many dialogues, so many unique dialogues of different things that I don't think 95 players would ever do or explore. But they put those dialogues in, it's a passion of, labor of love. Yeah, that's the expression. The best way possible. There's still, secret areas. Like, the skins, you don't have to buy them. You actually have to find them in secret areas. That's insane in 2021. Yeah. You're kidding me?
Yeah, the skins, I can identify with that one. Yeah, the microtransactions, they're not going to stop getting out of hand. But dude, this Guardians game, I heard about it. I heard it was good. I have not. I've been so busy recently. I haven't played much of anything really. But yeah, what games have you been playing recently?
Me personally, honestly, new games, not so much. Honestly, I think the last new game I played was Fear and Hunger 1 and 2, in middle of spring. I don't know if you heard those. They're indie horror games. They're extremely brutal, really. But the universe is extremely well written, and let me explain it this way. It's one of those franchises and things that you would want to get drowned in it. That's how immersive and interesting it is. And the games are actually really. It's like, do you know about the manga of Berserk?
Not familiar. I'm not familiar.
Actually, Elden Ring and a lot of Soulsborne games were heavily inspired by that. So since you don't know that, so I don't think this comparison will do work. But it's kind of like Berserk in video game form in terms of intensity and just how messed up it is. But the messed upness in the game actually makes sense. So it's not just messed upness for the sake of shock value,
Right.
I mean, it is for a bit. I mean, I think even sometimes the developer kind of takes a piss, but
Nice.
But yeah, the game is really interesting if you're into JRPGs because it's basically a JRPG format. But from the looks of it, I don't think you wouldn't be interested in it.
Well, I'm not a huge JRPG fan. I'm more of a what do I play? I play a lot of first person shooters. That's kind of me and my friends. We're competitive. We actually been playing Rainbow Six Siege, and man, we when we played back in the day like in the game's 8 years old now. By the way, Rainbow Six Siege. It feels like it came out yesterday, but the game's 8 years old now. But we played in high school. We were pretty solid at the game, and now they have like there's probably 70 operators now that just do the same thing, and it's just so you'll walk through a doorway and you'll see like four different things go off. Like, okay, I wasn't here for year 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 when they released those operators, But yeah, I'm mostly a first person shooter kind of guy. We'll play Modern Warfare 2 on occasion. We're not really. Well, we are a fan of Modern Warfare 2, but excited for new Call of Duty to come out. Because I love what Infinity Ward's doing. I don't know who's working on it, but the next one at least. But excited for that. Yeah, I can't remember. I know there's some other games I've been playing recently. I can't remember. Besides Elden Ring, damn, not much, dude. Trying to get CS2. You're into Counter-Strike at all?
I actually, here's the thing. When it comes to first-person shooters, I'm into unrealistic, style as ones. In contrast to one of my friends who's into highly realistic and tactical ones like Arma and those types of you're like him as well. Yeah. But I'm kind of into Overwatch, Valorant, kind of like goofy out, kind of FPSs like that. Because not just in FPSs, in games in general, depends, of course, on the situation, but I'm not really into the realistic stuff. Realism is something I'm trying to escape, not go back to. I have realism outside. I don't like it. It sucks.
Right.
But
reality sucks. Return to video games.
Yeah, exactly. I like to do satchel charges with Raze or Junkrat and throw bombs and do wacky shit like that. Like high mobility characters, but you can't do that in real life.
Yeah, no. It's all boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Arma 3 is awesome, but
yeah, I don't have the patience for that kind of stuff. Even if I was forced on a battlefield, I wouldn't be the tactical. I would just be the guy who dies in 8 seconds, first 8 seconds of a war or something, because I'm too impatient to just, wait and strategize. Yeah.
Yeah, recently I've actually been, we went back to the Battlefield 2042. We went back to it, and it's all right now. The game, it works now. But I was very disappointed. I love Battlefield, one of my favorite franchises. Battlefield 4, I played that game for hours on end. Probably have a 500 to 1,000 hours in that game probably as a kid. But Battlefield 1 was great. 5 was okay. But 2042, man, I think they dropped the ball. But it's kind of making a comeback a little bit. They got some new DLCs, or not DLCs, but new seasons, which I'm not really a fan of doing seasons. I'd rather you just release the game and then we play the game, But fortunately, it's a corporate side to video games now that it's
season pass on every game and buy unlock new cool skins, do all this stuff. No, I get it, but I don't know. It's just it sucks,
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing sometimes, but Halo is my favorite franchise. I got a Master Chief poster around here somewhere, but Halo is absolutely. I have a Master Chief tattoo actually. Oh, there's the train again, but when those games came out, you would they just worked. They I don't remember a bad Halo launch. And then you'd wait at GameStop. Do you have GameStop where you are?
Dude, I'm in Middle East. There's no GameStop.
Yeah,
we pirate and crack every game, but the console ones we can't crack them, so we actually have to buy them the original price. Which they're kind of costly here.
Yeah, okay. So we have in GameStop there would be midnight launches. My parents would never let me go to them because they were always on a school night. But Modern Warfare 2's midnight launch, Halo 3's midnight launch, and it was just a line that wrapped around the block 3 times just to get Halo 3. And now it's that excitement is kind of has gone and passed, but because it's all digital now, you can just we don't need to wait for Starfield when it comes out because I can go right now and buy it. But That's an unfortunate thing I missed too with the physical games. I got a few physicals. I got Halos lying around. I got some Halo discs lying around. But
Yeah, I mean, I get that, like, but I mean, they're also kind of replaced by conventions as well, so it's not all lost. And I mean, in a sense, like, I mean, personally, I kind of don't like having physicals around because personally, I'm kind of like a minimalist type of guy. I like to have as much less stuff as possible. So I kind of
sure.
appreciate it that I can just have it all like online on the cloud or something, so that I don't have to carry things around. So that's
Yeah.
cool. But at the same time, if my account gets hacked, yeah, let's not talk about this stuff seriously. But I mean, see, everything has its pros and cons. But speaking of games, actually, the two games I'm just trying to chill with these days when I'm kind of trying to of course chill as well is Skyrim. Installed it like yesterday.
Oh yeah.
It never disappoints. And the other one is like a game from 2006 called Sonic Riders. I've been playing it since I was 9.
That's
It's
wild.
the best racing game I've ever played. It's still really fun. I swear, like it's really
Yeah.
fun.
I've seen lots of gameplay of Sonic Riders. I've seen the hype. I've seen it.
Yeah, and I wish just Sega decided to make new versions because the game there's a lot of fan remakes and mods of it right now. Like there's like high Unreal Engine remakes of it. Like there's just so many crazy things. But and in terms of gaming, the newest game I'm about to play is a Starfield because I actually pre-ordered it because it was my birthday, 2nd of July, and I had a really bad lung infection and I was really sad. So I needed to cheer myself up somehow. So I
Yeah.
pre-ordered the Starfield for myself because I'm really hyped for it as well. Like deep down, I know it's going to be a bug-riddled mess by launch. Like I don't want it's Bethesda. Like come on, all right.
Dude,
I
that's
know
the joy of it, man. That's the beauty of it. Dude. When your
that's
force can go vertically up a wall, that's the beauty of gaming. Dude.
exactly. Like it's the first original IP in 25 years by Bethesda. I mean, I'm really eager to see what's going to be about, and especially like some areas like one of my favorite games of all time is Fallout New Vegas, and I've seen one of the settlements in the game. I noticed it's really similar to the settings of Fallout New Vegas. There's like cowboy, sci-fi, western style. They said it's like they were influences from Guardians of Galaxy and Firefly, and these are the exact things I love.
Yeah.
It's a really weird niche, but western sci-fi. I love that genre. I know it's so random, and especially coming from someone like you wouldn't think like someone from Iran wouldn't know what this stuff are, but yeah,
Sure.
here I
Sure.
am, and
Yeah.
yeah, like things like Firefly, like Guardians of Galaxy, Fallout New Vegas. Um, I'm a sucker for these settings and stuff, and surprisingly, all of them have amazing writing. And oh my god, I'm
Yeah.
so hyped for Starfield. I really, really, really hope they do it justice.
Dude, I think if the game works, like you remember, did you play Cyberpunk?
I'm sorry, I had to unmute my mic for a second. No,
Oh,
actually, no, I haven't. I
okay.
heard.
See, Cyberpunk, like the story of the Cyberpunk was awesome, but I downloaded and played it day one like everyone else did, and the game crashed 20 times. Like there was times where my character would just start T-posing, or the enemy would start T-posing, and I couldn't progress. So it was like, if they can get the game to work, which is not an easy feat. It's a kind of like low key a miracle to get things working. But if they get the game to work, dude, the visually it already looks amazing. I think it already looks amazing. I'm a huge robot guy, so I love robots. I mean, I love Bethesda. I have a Skyrim tattoo as well. But yeah, so if they get the game to work, it'll be amazing. I think it'll be amazing. But I'm trusting Todd Howard. Please, Todd Howard. I love Todd Howard, man.
Yeah. And speaking of robots, I'm actually like since I was a kid, I loved robots as well. Like honestly, like my main in Apex was a Pathfinder actually, and
Oh, yeah.
my favorite animation of all time is Wally. Actually, I swear, I kid you not. Yesterday, I was just going through the art book of Wally, some of the early concept arts, and
Dude, they have that. You own it.
yeah,
That's sick. That's nice.
yeah, it's on Amazon. Actually, you can purchase it. And yeah, actually, my next art book purchase is going to be the art book of Guardians of Galaxy game. It's like 800 liras here by Turkish currency. So next time I get some money, I'm gonna buy that.
Awesome. Yeah, I started getting into art books too. I got So far, I have this. Oh, dude, if you love robots, you got to look up Brian Sum on Twitter. He has an art book
I think I know him.
called Aftermarket. Dude, amazing robots. It's just all robots. Robots. There's like a page on guns. There's a page on like sci-fi vehicles. It's amazing. I love that thing. It was like the best $50 I've ever spent. But and then I got Titanfall too. I got the art book of Titanfall. Just some great like robot concepts. The giant mechs. I love that stuff. I'm probably gonna get like, oh, I'm playing Armored Core when that game drops. I'm playing. I'm playing that game. Yeah, that's because that's souls and robots. So
yeah, that's gonna be really interesting to see, honestly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's so many potential for like new revolutionary cool shit to implement in a fighting game.
Yeah, dude, From Software, they've mastered like from the I saw early gameplay, they've mastered like the sense of scale that some of these robots have, and you really feel like you're just a small robot fighting on the side of like this like huge, enormous robot. It's awesome, dude. I remember my first introduction to Armored Core. I'd never played it before because I believe it's all on console. I don't think you can play it on PC. I could be totally wrong, but I was watching my brother play it, and I had no idea, dude. You can min max your mech so many ways that you need to like start writing stuff down and doing math on paper, and I couldn't do that as a kid because I just wanted to, I want to see things go explodey, But dude, that game is so awesome. I love those games now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm probably just gonna watch playthroughs of it because I really can't afford to play it. But yeah, like it's not about just afford it; it's just also about I don't know, but let's say you're in a a phase of your life that you don't have any worries. Let's say for even a week or two, all right? For a while, everything is calm and stable for now, all right? But you can't enjoy games. I've had that happen to me a lot, especially in the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets really hard to enjoy things, I guess, when there's so much more new responsibilities and things, I guess. But
yeah,
but imagine a game being so good that even though this is the fact, it still gets you. That's the sign of a good video game. Holy, that's such a good measuring stick.
That was Elden Ring for me. That one, like, I was not enjoying modern gaming. I mean, well, I say modern. I wasn't enjoying gaming in general. Besides, like, playing competitive shooters with my friends, I just was not enjoying the games that are coming out. Except there's some. So when I was working on games, like when the game came out, that was like amazing. Like that was my first game to come out. That's awesome. That's like a dream come true for me. But other than that, it was just like, okay, this game's like kind of the same as this game. This game's kind of the same as this game, but then Elden Ring just changed everything. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Games are actually good these days. And that's why I love From Software. Is probably my favorite studio at the moment.
Yeah. And well, we've reached the final question and section of this podcast, which is called Time Capsule. I mean, I'm sure you can, by the title of it, you can kind of guess what it's going to be like, but let me paint a scenario for you. Imagine you're in a huge spaceship and you're locked in an escape pod, all right? And you can't get out. And there's a countdown timer. You're about to be ejected very soon, like in a couple of seconds or maybe minutes. And in that time, the only thing you can do, the last thing you can do, you realize, oh shit, this is the last time I can ever get the opportunity to express myself in any way. What would you say in that time? Like, this is going to be like your last remaining piece of expression from you. What would you say to anyone else who might hear this in the future?
Like as a joke, this kind of reminds me of Among Us getting ejected. But anyways, my dad always tells me, like as a kid, if we were ever doing something and I ever got lazy doing something, he would say it. There was a few curse words in there, but he would say, if you're gonna do something, you do it right. And then every time I always had this voice in the back of my head: if you're gonna do something, do it right. Because I'll always find myself making a model, or even just like doing something in my life, like cooking. Something simple, and I'll get lazy and I'll try to skip out on something. But then, if you're gonna do something, just do it right. That'll carry you through a lot of things, and then that's where you see real growth I think both as a person and as an artist too. But you said non-art related, but there's a little art in there, but
Yeah. All right. That's actually pretty good advice. And yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I mean, there like this sort of notion has been expressed through a lot of expressions in different cultures, actually. But I think in general, what it boils down to is just be a professional, you know. And professional, it doesn't just only end with what you do. It's just like a personality trait. Like if you're going to be a janitor, be like the best janitor out there. If you're going to clean windows, be the best window cleaner out there. Be the fastest,
oh
be the
yeah,
most efficient. If you're going to be a cook, be the best cook. If you're going to be a 3D, if you're going to be UV, someone who's just going to do UVs in a studio, be the best UV guy out there. Like be up to date with every single UV technology and software that's out there. Just have that
exactly.
professionalism mentality, and that's where you're not an NPC anymore, and you're actually a character you can actually have good, cool dialogues with. Yeah, that's actually like a
Yeah,
cool extension we can add to that.
not an MP. Don't be an NPC. I like that. Yeah, you want to be the guy that they can rely on. If you're looking to get hired, you want to be the guy that they can rely on to get things done. You're not gonna like push back. You're gonna be professional about things. Professionalism is a big thing in the industry. If you're not professional, there's a lot of people in my Discord that say funny things or make memes or something, but I mean, it only really takes like one message to really be on someone's like bad side. But yeah, so I just be professional in everything you do. You could attribute that to everything. You could attribute that to how you give feedback to people, because I've gotten some pretty not so nice feedback sometimes, but which some people will say you need that feedback. I don't think you do. I think there's a nice way to give feedback, which that could be a whole topic in itself that we talked about, is just giving feedback, man. I have so many gripes with people giving feedback, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially about feedbacks, just like not just in art, like in every field, you see some people who become really good at things, but they never personality-wise grow, and they're kind of like have this kind of attitude, and it's just, I mean, everyone just puts up with them because they're just really good at a specific thing. So they always want to be good, but at the end of the day, they're assholes.
Yeah,
And
no,
there's like I don't care who you are, I don't care how good you are or something. If you're And here's like really one of my problems that I'm kind of afraid of when I go into the studios, because I hear a lot of stories of people, like especially in huge studios, like I mean we all know them, like Riot, Blizzard, Ubisoft, like all of them, like just
right.
every single one of them. There's so many like weird stories coming out of them. I'm not just talking about like weird sexual harassment things that going on sometimes. I mean,
Yeah,
but just also weird attitudes, like sometimes your higher ups could give you and just could get away with it. But honestly, like that's the thing about me. Like maybe I guess sometime in the future, someone's going to clip this part of the podcast and show it to me and say, "Ha ha, see, you're not really consistent with what you're saying." But honestly, like if I'm witness to a situation where someone's just been like a complete buffoon, like an absolute moron, like not just been, I don't want to go into details to someone
mm-hmm.
else. Like basically what I'm trying to say, I can't stand bullies. I can't stand anyone who gives off this bully energy. Like that's something that since I was a kid, I could never stand. Like I'm really ready to lose my high paying job over just confronting them, just punch the guy, sucker punch the guy, so I could just it would feel like putting ice water on fire for me.
Yeah,
That's how it comes down. Because at the end of the day, look, and at the end of the day, when I'm old, I'm actually gonna be like, smile and say, hey, at least I saved my dignity and punched that guy.
yeah, yeah.
Not because
No,
you can't take your money to the other world. Like I don't know. This is getting too philosophical. I'm sorry. Go on.
no, dude. Like, you'll encounter some people that give you harsh feedback. That's how I started. Was getting pretty harsh feedback, but it's kind of like that movie. Did you ever watch the movie Whiplash? It
I,
was
I know what it's about, but I even saw like but the way the guy was like busting his balls was he knew exactly what he was doing. He was guiding him to become the best version of himself. I mean, of course, in my opinion, that
mhm.
was a bit toxic. Of course, it could have been better, in my opinion, like my personal opinion. Like there's things to be critical of, but at the end of the day, that was harsh criticism and harsh attitude. But the guy knew what he was doing. Some people are just harsh, but they don't know what they're doing, aka assholes.
Yeah. See, I kind of look at it as like there's two ways to kind of interpret that movie. You can see it as, yeah, he was like throwing chairs at people and borderline just like beating people up, but and just physically and mentally abusing people to get them into shape to become a better artist. But then you can also look at it as a way of like that just caused people mental torment to where their life only became getting better at playing the drums. Their entire life revolved around not getting you to yell at me because I'm trying to learn the drums, And I think that's kind of like, so I kind of like look at that and I'm trying to apply it to the way I give feedback to people. So my team that I work with at Ryzin, I give them feedback. I try to, sometimes stuff that just goes through that should not be going through, but still give them compliments. There's still some good stuff in everything, because we're all, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people forget that we're humans before we're artists, and sometimes artists can be sensitive, but we're humans first. And I think people should look at that more.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the thing I talked about, like just a couple of minutes back, wasn't just necessarily about feedback. So, I mean, I don't care if someone in a feedback is just being a complete douchebag to me. In my head, I'm going to write it in my blacklist of the people I should avoid, but I'm just going to take it and just go, because my mindset is different at that point. But yeah, the thing that I can, like if I find evidence of someone just being like making the workplace toxic for someone, or just cultivating this bullying and hostile thing, yeah, that's like one of my I'm gonna be honest with you, like I have no self-control when it comes to that. Like I'm just going all out.
Yeah, no, I've gotten some pretty harsh feedback from clients, and it's a good artist will just take that, just like, all right, he's kind of an asshole, but we're just gonna move forward and we're gonna learn from it. And sometimes you do need a little kick in the butt, but yeah.
And well, all right. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for coming by for this episode. Where can people contact you if they had any questions? Is your Twitter account okay?
Yeah, Twitter's works. You got Discord. I get a ton of messages on Discord. You can must be an art station if you want. Yeah. Anything really works, but
all right, awesome. So all the links are down below, so people can check it out. And with that being said, again, thanks so much for coming by, and thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, same as I. And with that being said, take care, everyone. Stay safe, and till next episode. Bye bye.
Thank you, man. See you later, man.